from the hurricane zone, and he's all cleaned up, took a shower and a brand new tie, very spiffy. You know, you're a Southern boy down from Mississippi, and you got some emotion when we had you on last week, and there was some emotion in your voice when you were reporting. Upon reflection, all right, what did you learn from this storm? What did you learn from it?
I learned we weren't ready. And I'm not sure whose fault that is, and I don't know if it's time to begin playing a blame game, but I know that we have to some degree, be ready. When you run a city or a parish or an area where you know that if a bad storm hits, you're going to be wiped out, then you have to be ready to get out the poorest and the incapable, or at least give them the opportunity to get out. And it's from everything I've been able to learn reporting, Bill, they didn't offer those people a way out.
You see,
we have to find out why that is.
I'm in the minority here, and we spoke to Newt Gingrich at the top of the program about this. I knew that if there were a terror attack here or a devastating earthquake, I knew that this would happen. I knew that a huge bureaucracy like the federal government can't move that fast. It can't. And that if it doesn't break your way, and nobody anticipated the levees cracking, the levees breaching.
Well,
that was the flashpoint, but they didn't. Because if you look at,
because the Army Corps of Engineers said this levee can handle a Category 3. They had a Category 5 coming to that city.
But if you look at the evacuation plan put forth by the city of New Orleans and the governor,
right,
no mention was made of what do we do in a breach situation. None. And it's online. You can go see the evacuation plan. I've studied it. I have it in my briefcase. So I think we put too much faith in government. And to me, if a 5 is bearing down, I get the hell out. Don't you?
Well, I do, and I certainly do. My family and I have been evacuating from hurricanes for many years, living on the Florida coast. But I think that when you have a city with as large a homeless population and as large a poor population as the city of New Orleans is, when you know that 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6 people has no access to cars, then you have to make the public buses available. You have to make some sort of transportation available for these people. You know they're there, they're on the public rolls. In large case, their mental deficiencies are being treated by alcohol.
Yeah, they had no, here's what they did. They had nowhere to take them out of town.
Come up with a place.
Well, that's true. I mean, but that's the governor's responsibility.
Well, I don't know whose responsibility it is.
It's a state responsibility. Whenever your citizens are in trouble, the state is responsible. But they didn't have a place to put them. But this is what I'll never understand. They did have buses going around getting the poor and infirmed, and they took them to the Superdome, which they had done before. But the Superdome had no security, no food and water, I mean, to deal with 20,000 people. So I'm saying to myself, I guess they thought it was only going to be 12 hours of wind and rain, and then everybody could go home.
That's what I was planning for when I went down to cover it.
That's what happened, see? They never thought Armageddon, the levees breaking, the levees breaching, was going to happen. And that's where the tilt point was. You did an excellent job down there. Did anybody tell you that?
You did. Thank you.
No, other people did too. Yeah, and I mean, I like the passion you brought to it.
Well, you can't help but be passionate when people around you are suffering to that degree. It's hard not to be passionate.
I mean,
and then over days of that continued suffering, knowing that they can come a quarter mile over dry freeways, that they can come there as easily as I came there every day, and they don't come.
And they couldn't get them in there?
They could have gotten there, Bill.
But not with the huge, unwieldy bureaucracy that is the federal government. Thanks, Shep. Glad you're back safe. We appreciate it. In a moment, it's about to get nastier in the robbery.